Hello, sports fan. This is Steven here for Sports Choice Plus. I'm bringing you a very special breakdown. We're going to be covering, is it enough in Minnesota? Before I get right into that, I'm going to make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so you can get all the breakdowns and all the updates. Without further ado, let's get right into the action. Looking at the Minnesota Vikings offseason, we've seen a lot of big departures. You're talking about the likes of Adam Thielen, wide receiver. You're talking about Patrick Peterson. You're talking about Irv Smith. You're talking about Eric Kendricks. You're talking about guys who made big plays for these teams, for this team's success last season, and they were a big part of the integral success of them building the last couple of years. You look at Justin Jefferson, you look at Dalvin Cook, you look at Kirk Cousins, and you're saying to yourself, what is going to be the addition through the draft that's going to help this team either move forward and get over the hump, or what's going to get them to the Super Bowl? What's going to get them to playing at a high level? And you got to ask yourself, can the Minnesota Vikings through this draft rebuild enough to get themselves over this hump? It's going to be a tough effort, and I'll say this because the guys that you lost in the locker room, even though sometimes they were on the injured list, they were still leaders in the locker room. It's hard to replace that veteran leadership, and it's also hard to replace some of the plays that they made on the field. I know Adam Thielen, more than not, has been off the field the last couple of years more than he's been on the field. But when he's right, when he's on it, he is a good number 2 receiver. He makes sure he catches a lot of those balls that's thrown his way. And you're looking at Patrick Peterson, the leadership on defense, the way he was able to coach those guys up in a short amount of time. Having that kind of playmaker that is a little older, I know, it gets a little, they want to go cheaper with different routes, with different things, but you got to keep in mind, having those veterans in the locker room can make a difference. You're going to have to pay somebody. You might as well pay somebody who can make plays still. Patrick Peterson is somebody I thought they should have went after. I know that he's happy with the Steelers now, but having that presence on this team was more than what it was worth financially. I think that the invaluable leadership skills was something. So when you look at this season, notice that the Minnesota Vikings took a big step back last season because they were in prime position to be a number 2 seed. They lost a lot of games. I know that they ended up going home early, but you got to keep in mind the Minnesota Vikings had a talented team. Oftentimes, Justin Jefferson saved them with great, spectacular catches. I know that game against Buffalo all stands out. But you got to think, they have to develop something more. Dalvin Cook has to give them more. Kirk Cousins has to give them more because Justin Jefferson had an MVP-type season. So you got to think, are they going to be able to do better in the draft on defense? Are they going to find their savior on offense? So you got to look through a lot of these things. I think they should have kept a couple of those guys. In my humble opinion, I don't think they replace any of these guys to the maximum level of what they lost. But you got to think, when it's all said and done, the Minnesota Vikings have to win now. Their championship window is winning now. They have a quarterback now. They have the wide receiver that they want now. They have a running back now. So this is going to be a big part of their success. So I don't think the Minnesota Vikings are going to have a good year like they had last year. I think they regress. I think they take a step back. And it's difficult because you have one of the best wide receivers in the league on your team. He can't do it by himself. And that offense that they run is not an offense that you're going to get a lot of points out of that quickly, that often. You're going to have to scratch and claw through a lot of games. So with Dalvin Cook's shaky history past, you don't know how healthy he's going to be. And, I don't believe in Kirk Cousins as a quarterback. So all you Minnesota Vikings fans, get in the comment section below. Definitely check out Sports Choice Plus on the YouTube channel for all the updates and all the breakdowns, and we'll see you on the very next video.